What's going on, guys? Welcome back. Another episode of the KingBarra. This morning Rex started pulling out all of the heater box and heater assembly out of the LQE because it is all getting replaced by our vintage aircon setup. So that all just unbolts. It's pretty lucky that it is all getting replaced because I'm pretty sure from looking at the pictures we got sent of our intake manifold that it will probably end up quite far back, and I don't think it would have fit with the standard heater box. But hopefully we should know very soon because I've been contacted and apparently that manifold is meant to be here this morning. So really looking forward to laying our eyes on that thing. And I'm just waiting on a call to say that our bushes are here so that I can go and get them and we can actually get this rear end together. Guys, I've just gotten back. Got our new bushes here ready to go so they can go on the top. And then the diff will be ready to finally go into the car again. Rex, while I was gone, has got the 75mm intercooler core out to start fitting that up, and it's completely different. The mounting points are completely different, so everything we sort of did at Ryan's the other day to get the 100mm core mounted was pretty much a waste of time. That's where the 100mm core mounts were. The 75 is, yeah, completely different. So that's a bit of a pain, but at least we have got a manifold just arrived. So finally got our Zoo Performance manifold. Yeehaw! So we can start having a look at how it's actually going to fit up in this engine bay and where everything's going to end up. We've got our throttle body here, our cable throttle body. Now, up until now, I had no idea what throttle body we were going to be getting, and I was really hoping that it would be similar to like a LS style, where you have like an inbuilt IAC into the throttle body, but there is no IAC in the throttle body at all. Which means we're going to have to sort something out for an IAC for this thing. So we should be able to sort something out with one of them ports for an IAC. But anyway, that's the mighty old manifold ready to go. So that's obviously one of the big disadvantages of going back to a cable throttle, is that now we have to sort out something with an IAC, which obviously with a full fly-by-wire setup you can avoid by just tuning it into the fly-by-wire. There are a lot of advantages, but anyway. We just tried to fit this manifold up. Looks like it's gonna fit in the bay fairly well, but it contacts the thermostat housing here. As you can see, we got contact here, and it's not close to pulling up on the head. I'll have to get onto Zoo and see what the go is. Find out. But apart from that, the way it fits in the bay is actually not too bad. We were a bit worried of the initial photos supplied to us that it was going to end up the throttle body like really close to the radiator, but that's not actually as bad as I expected. So anyway, I've sent the question to Zoo to find out what the go is, whether the manifold was developed around a different thermostat housing or something. For us, for this particular car, for where it is contacting, we could work around it. So for us, it's probably not that big of a deal. You know, it's one of those things we can sort out. Again, guys, I probably should really stress that the reason that this manifold was so late and the reason it's been such a big thing is not just because Zoo just decided they didn't want to send it or anything like that. It's a very, very new product. It's only just come out of development. You know, this is probably, I'm pretty sure this is one of the first ones in Australia. It's a very special sort of situation. It's not obviously just a reflection on how Zoo operates as a business sort of thing. It is a very new thing that they have been waiting on through development. So it is one of those things where, because we're one of the first people to have it, there is always going to be teething issues, R&D, feedback, stuff like that. That is just part of the deal. So it is a very, very new product. So where it's contacting for us, we can get out of it. We have a workaround, which will work for us, but obviously for people who want to use these that do need to retain, you know, maybe this heater hose, or they can't modify it, or they don't have the means to modify it, or they're running it in they want to run it in a standard Falcon. Obviously, this needs to be incorporated in the design of the manifold. It has to be sorted. So I'll wait to hear back from Zoo about that. But at the end of the day, if we have to, we can work around that issue that we've got there. So anywho, while we wait for that, we'll just focus on this diff now that we've got these bushes, and we can get this rear end back together. So I just got another pair of Superpros. Same as the one in the bottom trailing arm, same as the one that came with McDonald Brothers arms. They just knock straight in like so. Beautiful, mate. Beauty. Little lubeskins. Alright, so a quick issue that we have found. We were just mounting the upper adjustable arms to the actual body side, so we didn't have to worry about that. And we've realised that you can't actually get bolts through the upper shock mounts once they're bolted up into the car, just because of the shape of where they're situated. So you can't get a bolt from this side because this is in the way, and obviously that's in the way to actually get a bolt through there. So We're going to drop it down, pull these back out, actually mount the top of the coilovers through the top shock mount, and then put them back in and hang the coilovers to do this, because it's sort of the only way this is going to work. So this is what I was talking about last episode. These are the two upper shock mount bolts that were supplied, and they're two totally different bolts, which is weird, but anyway. Yeehaw, look at that. Need to touch up this diff where it was on those stands, but we'll worry about that a bit later. But that's the setup in there. Nothing's tight yet, it's just all in there for now. We think that just set on the bottom ones is going to be around the height we want, but we'll have to wait and see. So that's how it all ends up in there. Ford engine, Ford diff. So because of the way the bottom coilover brackets ended up, once they're around on the right side, once it's sorted, you have to put the diff on before you put all the brakes and the axles and stuff in, because you can only get this bolt in from this side. You can't get it through from the back side anymore because this is in the way. So once you put the brakes and the axle and everything here, you can't get the bolt in from this side either. So it's a bit annoying that it is like that, but you just got to be mindful of this now, that you have to put this in before all the axles and stuff. So righto, getting it all together. So as you can see, axles back in, setting up our brakes. These are our big Bear brakes. Pretty sure they're pronounced Bear, I don't know. They're big old brakes though. So these match the fronts, which you can't see because of the wheels that are on this thing. So it will be fairly sleeperish in that you won't be able to really see any of this stuff, which is really cool, but obviously this thing's going to stop pretty freaking well. So we're just in the process at the moment of shimming the calipers to ensure that they are centered. So that's what's happening over here, but it's all looking pretty good. So once we get these calipers right and shimmed, we can then, chuck the wheels on, drop it down on the ground, see where it's going to sit, see if we're going to have to move the coilovers at all, and start to have a look at our pinion angle for the level that we want it to sit at. And then we can start looking at our tail shaft length with the height that it'll sit at, so that we can start looking at getting that ordered, so that hopefully if we order it this week, maybe we'll get it by Christmas. Maybe we'll have a tail shaft by Christmas. We can only hope. At this stage, because of what's happened with this thing and how close we're getting to Christmas, we're not holding out heaps of hope for a lot of this stuff to happen before Christmas, because chances are it's probably not going to. Because everybody in just about every industry that we deal with is just absolutely flat out at the moment. It's crazy. So anyway, can only do what we can do. Righto, so Rex has shimmed up all the calipers. The specifications that they give you say to shim them to within 5 thou of center on the disc, top and bottom, which is pretty wild. That's a very low tolerance, especially when they only give you 15 thou shims. So it's a long process to get right, but Rex sorted it out, and we just dropped it on the ground. And she's probably a bit low. It looks sick though. It looks cool, but yeah, I think we might need to go up one hole. Yeah. It was bad enough before. Yeah. That does look sick though. So that's about where you want it there. Alright, so just moved them up a hole, which I think should be enough, just one hole, and then obviously the rest we should get when we actually start tightening the spring down on the perch. Yeehaw! That's a bit more like it. Yeah, I think the rest of that, I think we will get once we actually tighten up the spring on the coilover. Probably a pretty good time to add that I literally have no idea how to set up suspension. I don't know anything about it. Setting up these coilovers, I wouldn't even know really where to start or what to do. Definitely gonna have to do some research into that sort of thing, because it's not really our field, setting up suspension like that. So righto guys, so been a back and forthing a little bit today with Zoo Performance about this manifold and our woes with it not clearing properly and contacting that thermostat sort of body there. And we are obviously, like I said, a big part of, I suppose, the R&D is to give feedback so that they can work around and sort of fix the design. Upon talking to them, what I've learned is that with the design of this manifold, they put a lot of emphasis on ensuring that it was narrow, very close to the block, as you can see, by all this room here. We're blessed in the H series chassis that we do have just a huge amount of room to work with, but the aim for this manifold was for it to be able to fit in a lot of conversions. So a lot of converted cars will go into chassis that are a lot narrower. You're not blessed with as much room, and it's pretty important to have a fairly narrow intake manifold. So that's what they were aiming for. I reckon that just a bit of a reshape of this area could easily probably get it to clear for the most part. And then you can buy AN adapter fittings for things like this, where you can run just an AN fitting out of it. And that would suit the majority of people. But I think what they plan on doing from here on out is actually just extending the runners. So essentially moving the whole plenum body out. But our plan is fairly simple because we're in a conversion and we have the tooling and the ability. We're going to change things around quite a bit. We're going to actually cut this off, weld that flat, so that's completely flat, which means the manifold should fit fine because that's the only place it's hitting is that there. And then what we're going to do is actually weld an AN fitting to the bottom underneath the thermostat. So the bottom will be an AN, I don't know what we'll put there yet, probably just an AN6, and we'll use that as what this piece would be, which is actually going to be hardline around to the water feed for the turbo, and I think it'll probably tee into the heater somewhere, but we haven't got that far yet. But that's our plan for how we're going to work around it to make this work, which from what Zoo have told me, this obviously isn't the first one that's been used, because they reckon that they have had other workshops send them photos of how they made it work just by doing that bit of grinding there. So it does work. Well, that's what we're going to do. That's how we're going to get around it, but Zoo do plan on revising the manifold to suit properly. So that's where we're at with that. Anyway, it's Wednesday, so I've got to duck off early. I think that's probably enough for an episode. I think there's a fair bit happened. So yeah, thanks for watching. Rex at the moment is just going to go on with pulling the dash out of this thing and starting to get the vintage air all set up in it. Tomorrow I've got to go down to the machine shop, so I won't be here tomorrow, so Rex is probably going to keep going along with that. So we'll tune back in for the next episode and see how far he's gotten with it, and we'll catch up everyone when I get back. So thanks for watching. Smash like, smash subscribe. Hope you're enjoying. We're getting through things. We are making progress. At least at this stage, we've got most of the big important stuff here that we shouldn't, touch wood, have any more delays. But the way things have been moved around, the delays that it has caused, what's already happened, and when this is going to wiring, I'm not worried about getting the engine together or anything like that before it goes to wiring. It's probably going to go to wiring with the dummy engine as well. Same sort of deal. We're not going to have the time, and for the advantage that it's presenting, it's not worth putting our time into that at the moment when there's so much other stuff that needs to be finished before it goes. So constantly moving stuff around and getting it to work, but we'll be right. So cheers guys, see you on the next one.